They didn't break up when things got hard. That was the first difference. The excitement faded quietly, not in one dramatic moment, but in small ways: fewer late-night talks, fewer surprises, more routines. Mornings became predictable. Evenings were often tired. Love didn't disappear, but it changed its shape, and that scared them more than conflict ever had. At first, they tried to fix it the way people are taught to now. Podcasts. Articles. Advice from couples who spoke in perfect sentences online. Communicate more. Plan dates. Keep the spark alive. They tried all of it. Some of it helped. Some of it felt forced. The real shift happened the night they finally stopped pretending something was wrong. They were sitting on opposite ends of the couch, phones untouched, silence stretching longer than usual. She said, calmly, that she missed him even though he was right there. He admitted he felt pressure to always be enough, and exhaustion from trying to perform closeness instead of living it. There were no raised voices. No accusations. Just honesty without decoration. That conversation didn't solve anything immediately. But it changed the direction. They stopped expecting the relationship to constantly feel exciting and started asking whether it felt safe, respectful, and real. They learned how to sit with boredom without interpreting it as failure. How to argue without threatening the foundation. How to let the other person grow without taking it personally. Intimacy became deeper, not louder. Less about intensity, more about trust. Touch returned in quieter ways, a hand on the back while passing in the kitchen, fingers brushing in public without announcement. Sex became less frequent at times, but more connected, more intentional. Not something they used to prove love, but something that grew from it. They began choosing each other daily, not emotionally, but practically. Through decisions. Through patience. Through staying when it would have been easier to escape into distraction or novelty. They didn't romanticize struggle, but they respected effort. Their relationship advanced not because it became perfect, but because it became honest. No performance. No constant reassurance. Just two people learning how to love beyond the honeymoon phase. Where real partnership actually begins. What came next wasn't dramatic growth or sudden clarity. It was practice. Repetition. Learning how to show up on days that didn't feel meaningful on their own. They started noticing patterns, not just in each other, but in themselves. When they pulled away. When they stayed quiet too long. When old fears tried to rewrite the present. They learned to pause instead of react. To ask, what do you need right now? Instead of assuming. Sometimes the answer was space. Sometimes reassurance. Sometimes nothing at all. And learning to respect those answers without taking them personally became one of the hardest and most important parts. There were weeks when they felt deeply connected and weeks when they felt out of sync. They stopped treating distance as danger and closeness as proof. The relationship no longer lived on emotional highs. It lived in consistency. In knowing arguments didn't threaten commitment. In trusting that love could be calm without becoming weak. They began building things together outside of emotion, plans, routines, shared responsibilities. Money conversations that felt awkward but necessary. Boundaries with family and work. Decisions that didn't feel romantic but felt right. Each one strengthened something quiet and solid beneath them. What surprised them most was how attraction returned once pressure disappeared. Desire grew in safety. In laughter that came back naturally. In confidence that neither of them was going anywhere. Intimacy became less about reassurance and more about choice. Not do you still want me? But I choose you, again. They didn't compare their relationship to others anymore. They stopped measuring progress by milestones or timelines. Advancement wasn't moving faster, it was moving deeper. Understanding each other's triggers. Supporting growth without controlling it. Loving without trying to fix. Their relationship didn't look impressive from the outside. But from the inside, it felt strong. Because real relationship advancement isn't about intensity. It's about stability, growth, and the courage to stay present. When love stops being easy and starts being real.